This is hilarious.
Dude, this is something that, when I studied at the Shenzhen University, so that would have been 2007-ish, when I started studying. I went to go study Chinese. That's where I learned how to read and write Chinese.
Yeah.
And I went there to study like full time for about, I can't remember, 6 months to a year. It was about a year I studied there.
Sure.
And they sat us down, all the foreigners, and gave us this presentation. I'd already been in China for, a year, over a year and a half. But they sat us down and they got this cop to come and give us one of these exact type of things. Where they basically were telling the foreigners, don't you break the Chinese laws. But they were like ridiculous things that were just nonsense.
Yeah.
Like nonsense things that I don't know why they had to explain it to us,
Right.
But this is the kind of thing that they were saying. And I'm so glad that we have
I'll read it.
a screenshot. Please go ahead. What does it say?
So this is, again, foreigners show up to
Yeah.
China and the cops go, I'm going to give you a lesson on what you can't do.
Yeah, this is usually if you're going to go teach at a university or if you're studying at a university or some kind of public thing like
They
that.
do have these. I
Yeah.
can confirm.
Yeah.
Be constant in love. This is number 4. I would pay to see the rest of this presentation.
Yeah, I'm sure we could dig it up.
Probably dig it
yeah.
up. You have the right to find your love in China, but you should be serious. This is the worst written thing I've ever seen, by the way.
Oh, yeah, you have the right to
grammar,
find love.
The punctuation.
Isn't that scary though?
Yeah,
It's like,
that is scary.
it's acceptable for you to get into a relationship in China.
Yeah.
We're just letting you know. We're
Yeah.
watching you, but you can.
We have received reports from the society that some foreigners, especially males, change Chinese girlfriends very often. Even there are Chinese females called or wrote to immigration asking us to cancel the visas of the foreigners who cheated their feelings. Foreigners work in China as experts should behave themselves. I mean, there's a couple things, like the worst writing I've ever seen.
It's pretty bad. It's
just
official.
chaboudou as
it
hell.
is.
Number 2, to pretend like there isn't a problem, a rampant problem with cheating in China is absolutely insane.
Yes.
There are, 0.01% of the population is foreigners, maybe less?
Yeah, such a small
This
amount.
is not an issue pervasive in Chinese society.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, infidelity sure as hell is.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta be kidding me to pretend like it's just these random foreigners showing up causing social instability.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they're doing
That's
here.
insanity.
They're basically warning you, don't sleep around,
Projection.
Yeah, it really is. It's
Jolly
one of the
Jay could
biggest.
have given the speech himself.
Yeah, it's such projection, but that's a massive thing that we were told as well. Like in our thing, there was a big thing about like, you better not, take dating lightly. You better not just date people. In fact, it pretty much read, "Don't touch our Chinese women."
That's how
what
it
it said.
translates
That's
to.
actually what it was saying.
But it's okay if Chinese girls or Western girls touch Chinese men. That's
that's fine. They've really just
and
singled
that's
out
great.
the males.
I don't
yeah.
give a shit. But don't
Neither
get
do I.
involved, cops. Say the
I
hell
know.
out of this
It's like
shit.
cops.
It's
What are you
ridiculous.
doing? You don't get to say. You don't get a say on
What
who gets
an
to
L.
date.
What an
Yeah.
L. Yes, this is actually it's pretty important.
Yeah.
China takes strict measures, deletes 1.4 million social media posts, and crack down on unregulated self-media accounts. So there's a new precedent, a new law in China, which has declared the banning of self-media accounts. And what a self-media account is you, as a Chinese citizen, you don't work for the CCP, but you posted news.
Yeah.
Right? So let's say you said today... Or anything that could be deemed news. Today at the reservoir, somebody fell in, right? Somebody fell in the reservoir and drowned or something, right? And you're just like a local person from Huainan City, right?
Yeah.
Someone fell in the Shuiku in the reservoir and they drowned. You'll get arrested now if you reported on that. Not even report, you just posted about it because that's news, which first has to pass through the censorship board.
Yes.
So over 60,000 self-media accounts have been banned, and what those self-media accounts were just people that were like sharing stuff.
Yes.
I'm not talking about like people that are like just like a normal account. It's people that got kind of popular on the Chinese internet.
Think
because they're
about
sharing
citizen
stuff.
journalism, right? And
It's not even that though.
No, it's not even that far. You're right. It is if you were to report the news without without the consent of the government.
Yes.
So if there was a chemical spillage and people got injured and went to hospital or something, and you posted that on social media without first checking if it's okay with the local government to post it, that's when you get into trouble.
Yeah.
But we saw this during the COVID outbreak. There were some very high-profile citizen journalists who went out there and filmed, the body bags in the hospitals and the bad things that were going. They just got disappeared.
Yes.
They got taken away. We saw that happen. So it's that they don't want a repeat of that.
No.
They just don't want any news to get out into the public without them okaying it.
This is a big precedent, though, because there's now a law.
Yeah.
So there's no more selfie. You're not allowed to share news in China anymore. Right.
And I can give you a perfect example of why they want this sort of thing to happen. You see, I actually had a little chat with someone online the other day who's living in China, and they're very happy that they're raising their child in China because they say it's all safe. It's great. But they didn't realize that there's a rampant kidnapping issue in China. Kidnapping and human trafficking is huge, huge. And they had no idea. They've been living there for quite some time. No idea.
Gee, I wonder why they had no idea.
It's because the news of that keeps being suppressed, and you're not allowed to report on it.
Yes.
If you try to say, hey, a child was kidnapped over here in front of my eyes, blah, 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 that gets removed. You get taken away.
Yeah.
So when you don't hear any bad news, you think everything's great. And that's what China's trying to achieve, is that kind of control.
Yeah.
So that everybody can be brainwashed into thinking China's this utopia.
Yeah.
Whereas it's not.
Right.
And so I sent the guy a couple of articles, from Chinese media and stuff, and it really opened his eyes.
Right.
But you see, if he didn't have that exposure, he would have continued to think it's okay to let his kid go and run off and play without him watching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want you to read the article's author's name just really quickly.
By Mike Hurst?
No.
What? Where? I can't read it properly from here.
His last name's Hunt.
Oh, really? Very nice. As well, I said Hurst.
Mike Hunt.
Yes, of course. Clever little pseudonym over there.
I think it's probably his name.
That would be terrible.
Actually,
dude, I used to have... and I got to tell you, it's so annoying about Americans, I got to say. Because when I was in high school, we had this teacher who came from America to Africa to do they have these I don't know, romantic ideas of going to Africa and saving the starving African children or whatever and doing whatever work. He ended up working at my high school. And it wasn't what he was expecting. And he told us as much. He was he came to Africa to, be the big white savior from America to help everyone. He comes, he's teaching just normal kids. And he was very upset about that.
Right.
His name was Mr. Hunt. So we'd be like, hey, Mr. Hunt, Mr. Hunt. There would always be someone in the back, Mr. Hunt. And he'd be like, what? And they're like, oh, Mr. Hunt, that kind of thing.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice.
He was a weirdo. Anyway, one of my first exposures to an American, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, it kind of looked like the floppy hat dude.
Oh.
Yeah.
Spit from people that ate and cooked things in it in a gutter of muddy fecal water. It's just a conglomeration of pure, disgusting sin.
Nice.
This is not what you want to see when you're eating your pickled beans.
No, because look, it's literally in the toilet. Come on, dude. Think about it. You're going to get the occasional guy who's like a little prankster. He's going to take a little piss, He's
he goes he pinches it off and then
he's
goes,
yep.
It's a quick.
Get a little drip. I'll give you pickles, It's like...
When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs.